Year 8. So this quick video is just looking at translating from Spanish into English. I know sometimes this is something that you struggle with when it comes to putting the sentences together, and sometimes you rely on Google Translate. So I just want to show you a couple of techniques for you to use to be able to make sense of it without using that, to make sure that we have a sensible guess at everything. So the topic for this is sports. This is from your week 3 worksheet from your term 5 home learning, and it's task number 5. So we've got 5 sentences here in Spanish about different sports and activities, and we need to put those into English. The main thing when you're doing a translation is to focus on what you know first, okay? So looking at A, we're going to pick out the words here that we already know, and for the time being we're just going to ignore the ones that we don't. So we know gusta because we know me gusta. We know that means like. We know jugar means to play, and we know that al tenis means tennis. So something about liking playing tennis. And dia, we know looks like the word day, okay? So something about days. So we've got just over half the sentence there that we already know, so we then need to try and fill it in with the gaps. So we know that me gusta is I like, so it's obviously not I like, but nos, if we have a quick look at our verb table, with our different people here, yo means I, tú means you, él or ella means he or she, nosotros is we. So instead of I like, this is going to be we like. Jugar, we said, was to play. Al tenis, tennis. And then something about day. So we like to play tennis, something, day or days. So what could logically go in that gap? This is where we need to make an educated guess if we don't know this frequency expression. So every would fit in there. And todos los días is from your list 3, I believe, which is your frequency expressions from your vocab list, and that does mean every day. But that's just to show you that even without fully knowing that, you could have a very reasonable guess at it. Usually with translation, it's worth more than 1 mark. So even if you had a little bit, so if you said some days or today, for example, instead of every day, you might still get 1 out of the 2 marks. But if you leave a blank there, you haven't got a full sentence, so we won't be able to mark it. Okay, the next one, prefiero, that looks very much like prefer. Hacer, we know means to do. Ejercicio, you should know, but it also looks a little bit like it, exercise. Durante looks like during. And then fines de semana, which may be the new word that you perhaps haven't learnt yet. Again, that's another frequency expression. So we can put in what we know. Now with this prefer, because it's got an O on the end, we know that it's I prefer, because when I do an action, it has an O on the end of the verb. So I prefer to do exercise during, and then we've got fines de semana. Now fin looks a bit like final, finally, finished. All of those are talking about the end of something, okay? So this is los fines de semana, the ends of the week, but a more natural way to say that in English would be the weekends. Okay, if you said at the weekend, that would be absolutely fine because that still makes sense. For C, no, so we know that's don't do something. So no me gusta, for example, is I don't like. No hago. Hago means I do. It comes from the verb hacer. It's slightly irregular. Nunca is probably the new word that you may not be familiar with. That's a frequency expression. Atletismo, we know, is athletics. So I don't do something athletics. No me interesa. So no me interesa is a bit like no me gusta, but instead of gusta, we've got a word that looks like interest. So I'm not interested, or it doesn't interest me, something like that. So we can put in what we know. Oops, sorry, I don't do athletics. It doesn't interest me. Now at the moment you have got a full sentence that makes sense, so that will get you your 1 mark. To get us an extra mark in this translation, to make sure that we've got it fully right, we need this nunca. Nunca means never. So what we could do is say, I don't ever do athletics, or we could change it to I never do athletics, and that is the best way to do that. I never do athletics, it doesn't interest me. For D, a mi hermana, we know mi hermana is my sister. Gusta is likes. Jugar, to play. Al golf, golf. And then we've got todos los sábados. So from earlier on, todos los días, we knew that that was every day. So this is going to be every something. Okay, so my sister, you can put that in. Gusta, we know is like. So if it was me gusta, it would be I like. Nos gusta, we like. Le gusta is about my sister, she likes. So my sister likes to play golf every, and then what would make sense to go in there? It can't be just every day because you've got that above. This is actually a day of the week. As you can probably guess from looking at it, it is Saturday. Okay. And the last one, todos. We know now that that means every. Jueves, another day of the week. Hacemos, so this is from our verb to do, but it's we do because it's got hemos on it. So every something we do. Piragüismo is one of the harder activities to remember. That one is canoeing. En el río. So even if you couldn't remember canoeing, en el río, we know that río is the river. So you can think, right, what sport would we do, or what activity would we do in the river? Canoeing makes sense. Every we do canoeing in the river. So then that's majority of your marks there. You would then just have a guess at a day if you weren't sure. Jueves is Thursday. So hopefully that's shown you to focus on what you do know first and then fill in your gaps with the little bits after. Use words that look like English and have a good guess, and try and make it so that the sentence makes sense.